welcome back. And tell by the title, I've got my book. My therapy friends had the night off, so shall we begin? And as I warn in pretty much every other video I do for this, if you don't know where we are, tough luck, because I'm not going back. You'll have to watch the previous videos. Should be all in a playlist if I've done it right. If there isn't, you know I've screwed up somewhere, I've yet to figure it out. Now, one thing I will say is that if you remember, we're about to begin chapter 6. So shall we? Chapter 6. How we differ. All people are structurally alike in that they all have a parent, an adult, and a child. They differ in two ways. The content of parent, adult, and child, which is unique to each person, being recordings of those experiences unique to each, and in the working arrangement or the functioning of parent, adult, and child. This chapter is devoted to an examination of these functional differences. There are two kinds of functional problems: contamination and exclusion. Contamination. That's a subtitle, by the way. Or would this be subheader? Doesn't matter. Actually, I'll do one better. I'll show you. Look. See? Contamination. At the end of an initial hour in which I had explained PAC, as parent, adult, child, to the uninitiated, to a 16-year-old who was withdrawn, uncommunicative, culturally deprived, a school dropout, and referred by the welfare department, I asked, "Can you tell me what PAC means to you now?" After a long silence, she said, "Means that we all made up of 3 parts, and we better keep them separated or we're in trouble. The trouble when they are not separated is called contamination of the adult. Ideally, figure 30, which I'm about to show you, if you have a look. Let's see if I got this. Right. There you go. Just about right. I'll leave it on there for a few more seconds. If you like longer, then you may pause. Now, ideally, figure 30, which is the one you just saw, the parent, adult, child circles are separate. As you can tell, because you have a look, you see, those are separate, those are not. In many people, however, the circles overlap. The overlap in the figure is contamination of the adult by dated, unexamined parent data, which is externalized as true. This is called prejudice. Thus, beliefs such as white skins are better than black skins, right-handedness is better than left-handedness, and cops are bad are externalized in transactions on the basis of prejudgment. Before reality data is supplied to them, prejudice develops in early childhood when the door of inquiry is shut on certain subjects by the security given parents. The little person dares not open it for fear of parental rebuke. See? I hope you're getting this. What this means is, if you're a racist, then that's because you're not all there in the head. Your parent, adult, and your child are contaminating each other. Which means if you are racist, then you can be fixed. I wonder if that's how people do reform themselves, by uncontaminating their parent, adult, and childs. It's worth thinking about. It really is. Back to the book. We all know how difficult it is to reason with a prejudiced person. I do. Most of them are idiots. Actually, I'd argue most of them are probably idiots, since, you've got to be pretty stupid to be like that. Anyway, with some people, one can present a logical and evidential case regarding racial issues or left-handedness or any other subject that the person holds a prejudice about. Yet the parent in these people steadfastly dominates a portion of the adult. and they will surround their prejudicial cases with all kinds of irrelevant arguments to support their position. As illogical as their position may seem, the rigidity of their position is in its safety. See? I was on about this before on a previous chapter on Pre-Son I was. How we seek safety in what we know. And how many people are just too afraid to challenge their notions, their opinions, and what they do believe to be fact. I know it's because I'm like this too. Afraid to challenge facts, that is. I'm not prejudiced in any way, I don't think. Actually, I'd probably argue most people are probably prejudiced if they don't realise it. I'm including myself in this, by the way. Where was I? Let's see. Here we go. As illogical as their position may seem, the rigidity of their position is in its safety. As illustrated in chapter 2, I'm not going back to it, by the way, it is safer for a little child to believe a lie than to believe his own eyes and ears. Therefore, one cannot eliminate prejudice by an adult discourse on the subject of the prejudice. The only ways to eliminate prejudice are to uncover the fact that it is no longer dangerous to disagree with one's parents, and to update the parent with data from today's reality. Thus, treatment can be seen as separating parent and adult and restoring the boundary between them. The overlap in figure 30 is contamination of the adult by the child in the form of feelings or archaic experiences which are inappropriately externalized in the present. Two of the most common symptoms of this kind of contamination are delusions and hallucinations. A delusion is grounded in fear. A patient who said to me, "The world is hideous," was describing how the world seemed to him as a small child. A little person who was in constant fear of brutality at the hands of angry, unpredictable parents can, as a grown-up under stress, be flooded by the same fear to the extent that he can fabricate logical supporting data. Now, he is going in depth, I understand people say, so please bear with me. As you'll see, you're almost halfway through this book, which means that by logic, the last video should be roughly around December time. So you've only got another 8 months of this. Where was I? Here we go. He may believe that the door-to-door salesman coming down the street is really coming to kill him. If confronted with the fact that it is only a salesman, this person may support his fear by saying such as, "I knew it the minute I saw him. It's him. He's wanted by the FBI. I saw his picture in the post office. That's why he's coming to get me." As is in the case of prejudice, this delusion cannot be eliminated by a simple statement of the truth that this is, in fact, a salesman. It can only be eliminated by uncovering the truth that the original threat to the child no longer exists externally. Only as the adult is decontaminated is it able to compute reality data. Hallucinations are another type of contamination of the adult by the child. And hallucination is a phenomenon produced by extreme stress, when what was once experienced externally, derogation, rejection, criticism, is again experienced externally, even though no one is there. This applies to you, Jim, by the way. A recorded experience comes on for real, and the person hears voices that existed in a past reality. He asks him what the voices say. He characteristically will describe the content as words of criticism, threat, or violence. The more bizarre the hallucination, the more bizarre was life for him as a child. Bizarre hallucinations are not hard to understand when we consider the actual types of abuse, such as verbal and physical, to which some children, and by some I mean a lot, even now sadly, are still subjected to. You see? Exclusion. In addition to contamination, there is another functional disorder that explains how we differ. Exclusion. Exclusion is manifested by a stereotyped, predictable attitude which is instead fastly maintained as long as possible in the face of any threatening situation. Exclusion is manifested by a stereotyped predictable attitude which is steadfastly maintained as long as possible in the face of any threatening situation. The constant parent, the constant adult, and the constant child all result primarily from the defensive exclusion of the two complementary aspects in each case. This is a situation in which an excluding parent can block out the child, or an excluding child can block out the parent. The person who cannot play. Typical of the parent-contaminated adult with a blocked-out child is the man who is duty-dominated, always working late at the office, all business, impatient with family members who want to plan a skiing trip or a picnic in the woods. It is as if at some point in his childhood he was so utterly quashed by serious, stern, duty-bound parents that he found the only safe way to proceed through life was to turn his child off completely or to block it out. He had found through experience that every time he let it out there was trouble. Go to your room. Children should be seen and not heard. How many times must I tell you? Grow up. Now I used to grow up with some of them. Pretty soon it didn't affect me at all. This little person also was rewarded for perfect conformity, diligent effort, compliance, and doing exactly as he was told. The path of wisdom appeared to be total conformity to the parent and total blocking out of childlike impulses. Yeah, I can see that. Now, before we carry on, I'm going to show you figure 31, which shows you. See, you have parent contaminating the adult, or vice versa, whichever way you want to put it. And you can tell the child is being blocked out completely. Back to it. This type of person has very little happiness recorded in his child. He probably never will be able to let his happy child out, because he has very little happy childhood memories. However, he can be helped to appreciate that his position is not fair to his own family and to his own children, and that indeed his marriage may break up if he persists in trying to block out the child in his wife and children. He can, through purposeful effort by his adult, take a trip with his family, cut down his office hours, listen lovingly, which is apparently according to this an adult discipline, to his children's fantasies, and participate in their life. He can, with his adult, establish a value of being loving or of preserving his family. He will not change the nature of his parent or create a happy child which is not within him. But he can achieve the insight which makes it possible to build a satisfactory life in the present. Now that tonight, people, is where we end it, because there's another subtitle coming up. Now, I hope you all learned something tonight, because I'm certain I did. Never really thought about the parent, the adult and the child contaminate each other, but the more I think about it, the more I realise it makes total, complete and total sense. Now, I'm aware my voice isn't quite right tonight, and I have no idea why. And I think it has slightly affected my speech with this reading video, but I'll do these for practice, if I'm honest with you people. Well, I think I explained this before, but the reason I do these videos, and if you're watching this, you probably know why, but I'm going to tell you in case you are new, is that, one, it allows me to read this book, which I would otherwise probably struggle to do on my own. Two, it allows me to practice my public speaking and my reading, which is not a bad thing. And three, I like to think this is kind of going towards my getting out my bubble thing, you know, by practicing speaking, which kind of covers number 2 really. So I guess that's it. So with all that being said, I wish you all a farewell. Just want to say that I love each and every single one of you who is with me on this journey, and despite the lack of view numbers, my subscriber count has gone up. So I'm not sure where these people are coming from, but thank you for joining me. So until next time, take care of yourselves, alright people? Bye.